Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Tchaikovsky's most embarrassing work. Now, some of you have made suggestions about what this should be, and the one I think I've seen most often has been Fatum, the symphonic poem. But it's not really fair because Tchaikovsky kind of disowned Fatum. I mean, I already did a video about Fatum where I called it his trashiest work, which it certainly is. But it was kind of like reconstructed later from parts or something. I mean, Tchaikovsky did nothing to promote Fatum. He wrote it. He regretted it. I love it. I really do. I think it's just so much fun because it's his trashiest work. But it's not his most embarrassing. And I really think if we're going to find his most embarrassing work, we have to turn to the pieces that people at least know and recognize and maybe even have earned some measure of acclaim, not just something kind of like obscure and out there that everybody kind of already craps on. Whether you like it or don't like it, remember, this is not about whether you like it. It's not. No one cares. I don't care. That's not what this is about. This is about his most embarrassing work, which is embarrassing for reasons that have nothing to do with popularity or whether you like it or dislike it. And on those criteria, the most embarrassing work by the great Russian composer has to be the Marche Slave. My goodness, the very first time I heard that, my toes curdled. I mean, I went, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? First of all, it has an opening tune which is the epitome of banalité. Right? It kind of sounds like the Snake Charmer song. Same thing. Same school of melodic eloquence. And Tchaikovsky could really turn out the tunes. Let's not kid ourselves. He could write amazing tunes. In fact, as soon as he has a chance to try and expand on the melody and the strings come soaring in with ya da 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 da, you just go, oh, yeah, there's Tchaikovsky. It's like, whew, what a relief. I can stop playing that junk and I can actually write a Tchaikovsky-style tune, orchestrated in a Tchaikovsky-style way. So, first of all, the thematic material is not going to be that distinctive. So that's number one. But the real problem with it, aside from the fact that it just goes around twice and then has the coda that just won't quit, right? Jump, 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 jump. And it goes back to the beginning. It's actually the same. It's the real ending that Malcolm Arnold parodied in the conclusion of his Grand Overture. It's classic, ridiculous, romantic excess for no reason whatsoever. I mean, just absolute silliness. But the real problem with the Marche Slave is that it's not bombastic and vulgar enough. It's not that it's, bombastic and vulgar. It is, but, it doesn't give you enough time to really sink your teeth into it and savor all of its otiose excess and rhetorical, foolishness. I mean, like the 1812 Overture does. The 1812 Overture does everything that this thing does, but it does it so much better. And it has the same tune at the end. It has the Tsar's hymn. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 ba, da, da, da. And then there's the da, ba, 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 jump, 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 jump. And then the trumpets come screaming in with the most crass, unbelievable. What? Yeah, da, 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 da. Again, it's not that it's tasteless. Of course it's tasteless. It's not tasteless enough. Behind that, there's tam-tam crashes. Whack! Da, da. You don't know. We'll never hear the tam-tam half the time. I mean, most performances of it, they don't embrace its smarminess the way it needs to be embraced. I'm not saying the piece can't work. It can be thrilling. And again, I love it. But whether I love it or not isn't the point, because I play the tam-tam. Of course I love it. But It's not about whether I like it or not. It's about how embarrassing it is. It's embarrassing because it just never quite takes off the way you really want it to. Tchaikovsky was a composer who, as we know, was not exactly one to restrain himself. And emotionally speaking, particularly, he was not exactly inhibited. You want him to pull out all the stops. And he does that in the 1812 overture. I mean, after all, you can't pull out all the stops more than having cannons and an entire town's worth of church bells ringing along at the same time, and brass bands and all that other stuff. That's what you need if you're going to pull off something that's really, really ear-splittingly noisy and bombastic, but in a good way, in a fun way, in an enjoyable way. The Marche Slave is the pathetic, neglected, impoverished cousin of the 1812 overture. And it's the contrast between the two that so favors the 1812 overture, that so makes the Marche Slave the embarrassment, relatively speaking, that it really is. So there you have it, my friends. If you really want to stick by Fatum, I'm not going to argue with you. It also has wonderful tam-tam crashes in it. But that's not the point. It's not the point at all. The point is Tchaikovsky stood by the Marche Slave, and that is what makes it so embarrassing. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.